Hi guys, I'm Shmi, and today you join me for a fuel for thought driving in my future car, the Mercedes-AMG GT R. Now I've just stepped into this car having driven the AMG, or the SLS AMG Black Series, which is a car I've always wanted to drive, and let's just say I really rather enjoyed it. In fact, that car played a big part to me, kind of as the inspiration for ordering the AMG GT R. But today in the FFT, I want to talk a little bit about my car, when it's coming, some more of the details about it, because an awful lot of you are very interested and we get a lot of questions, even though I featured it a bit when I visited a Fulterbach, the home of AMG in Germany near Stuttgart, and had a look around the engine plant where these 4-litre twin turbocharged V8s are built, the actual engines that end up in the car, and where my future engine will be built. So I went over the spec back there and then, and some of the details, but I understand that that was quite a while ago now, actually a couple of months, and the car is going to be getting a little bit nearer in future. So the first question, the delivery date. My car is due to be built in September of this year. I expect that means it will arrive in the UK late September, early October. Then of course it needs a couple of things for pre-delivery inspection and just getting the car to me. So somewhere probably in October I'll be taking delivery of it. Now fingers crossed, if I'm lucky, that will give me just enough time to jump in it, go for a road trip and bring it to the Nurburgring, which is basically where the car was actually developed. So it would be quite a home, and that's basically where I think mine should go on its running trip. So let's see if I can make that happen. I'm just driving this one along in comfort, by the way, and it's a brilliant car to just cruise in. I'm just going to point that out, but I'm going to drive it a little bit harder shortly. Next sort of question, the specification of my car. Now I did a full spec video where I talked about that. I've actually ordered it in black paint, although if you've been following me for a while you will know that basically none of my cars are ever black. I like bold and bright colours, very bold and very bright. So it's black, a bit like this car, with yellow seat belts, yellow embroidery, yellow stitching, yellow brake calipers. So I think it's a nice spec for the car as a whole, black and yellow. And it's not a car I intend to keep forever, so it's a nice spec ready for when the time comes to move it on. But also it has a lot of capabilities to be wrapped, because I could wrap it yellow, I could wrap it bright green, I could potentially wrap it blue. There are basically lots of options, and I think in my ownership it's going to go through a number of different variations, because I intend to drive it a lot. It's going to do an awful lot of miles. This is one of the disadvantages of the car, the C-pillar is quite big. It's going to do a lot of miles, a lot of driving, get used, taken all around Europe. I mean, basically that's what I bought it for, to be my main kind of GT car. And cruising in this, even though I'm on a nice twisty road, this is proving the point. It does it brilliantly. It's absolutely perfect for the purpose. So the AMG GT R will arrive somewhere later this year. It will be black. Those are the two main questions, but do let me know if you have any more and I'll go over them as well. Now, just generally talking about the car, because obviously I drove it before. I drove it at the press launch in November, down at Portimao, had a track day in the car, and it was monumentally epic. I mean, things like this, tight corners, rear wheel steer, you just sort of point it in and around it goes, disturbingly tightly on rails. At low speed it helps for cornering angle, at high speed it gives you stability. We've got the driving mode selector, which I'm going to turn up to Sport Plus now, which is going to give us a little bit more noise from the titanium exhaust, which is I think probably what we all want. And maybe I'll go manual on the pedals just to get some downshift, because the noise is just silly. It's monumentally silly. I mean, they might be slightly artificially created, those sounds, but it's a proper V8, and AMG have really done this twin turbo thing very well. Yeah, the SLS Black Series with the massive V8, naturally aspirated V8, sounded even probably better. I'm happy to admit it sounded better, but engines like that can't exist anymore for regulations and emissions and those sort of reasons. And this does a mighty fine good job of it. And these kind of roads, this kind of car, by the way, I apologise if it's a little bit dark, because it is quite late in the evening, but I was not going to turn down the opportunity to take out an AMG GT R and take it for a drive in this kind of environment. This is just awesome. Just a whole lot of fun. Tight hairpin, don't need much steering lock, around you go, power down and out you go again. It's such a nice package with a bit of luggage space, comfort. These bucket seats are brilliant. I mean, I did a full review with the car back when I drove it the first time, but it's always fun to take it back out again and have another little experience behind the wheel. So going through into a little town now, let's pop it back into comfort. Nice and easy, nice and relaxed, gentle, quiet. Obviously the thing is equipped with options. I've gone for the premium package, which gives me the Burmester, the first level Burmester 10 speaker system, which should be more than enough for cruising. And yes, I know you can listen to the engine noise, but sometimes on a long distance road trip you do want music on, well, motorways, let's just say. There was an 11 speaker option, but I didn't deem that worth the, I think it was £3,000 and a bit of optional extra. I've gone for the sort of assistance detection stuff, so the sensor at the front that gives you like emergency braking and that kind of stuff, and adaptive cruise control. A bunch of other tech stuff inside, all the carbon roof, carbon mirrors, carbon wing, just carbon, because I'm a carbon fiend and I'm obsessed with the stuff. I'm sorry about that, it's maybe a little bit overpriced, but I just think it looks so good, and it's always a nice sort of contrast to paint colour. Obviously it's a bit weird actually having lots of carbon on a black car, but c'est la vie, that's life, that's how it is. Cruising, it's actually really nice, it's peaceful, it's quite a big change in the exhaust system. But we're getting towards the end of the town, which can only mean one thing, back into Sport Plus. You can actually, well, we're in the firmer suspension, but I might want it on the middle suspension for here. The exhaust you can manually open with a button, and manual you can confirm to stay on by pressing the manual button right there. Just letting it burble through the gear, letting it rumble. It's a cool feeling. It's just really cool, and driving this, knowing that it's like my future car, is even cool. Every time you lift off, you just get those bangs. Oh, it turns so beautifully. I mean, this car did 7 minutes and 11 seconds on the Nurburgring. That's really fast. In fact, it's the record for a rear-wheel drive, or it was the record for a rear-wheel drive car. No, maybe it still is. Yeah, burble. So yeah, it's quick, 585 horsepower, 700 newton meters, big numbers, very big numbers. In fact, it's probably faster than the Nurburgring than my McLaren 675 LT, which is a strange fact, but I'm sure it is, because that car's not built for that kind of environment. The Nurburgring has all these undulations, it puts a lot of pressure on cars, and they basically need to be set up quite specifically for them. How many times do you think I can do that before it gets boring? I suspect there's not a limit. I really like this thing, but do you know what? I probably like the SLS Black even more. I just think that was such a cool experience. It's hard to explain it. I mean, if you watch the video, you probably got a small sort of inkling of what I was feeling when I was driving it, but I'm going to use this little turnaround place here because there's a town in front of me, and I'd much rather be driving on the nice open roads, to be honest. Hey, the front's not too low, that's nice. And the turning circle is incredibly tight. That's brilliant. So, back out we go. Unfortunately, it's just got quite busy on me. But it is what it is. Cruise on the road. It's interesting to drive the car after the SLS and see the things that have evolved. So the SLS has the sort of rev limiter flashes, rev counter, warning lights for shifting at the top, but in like a sort of little display that's kind of put in, whereas this is right at the top with the digital screen that's installed there. Yeah, still got Alcantara steering wheel. Yeah, this has been a really awesome day, by the way. When you get the keys to an SLS Black and then to an AMG GT R, you drive them. So thank you very much, Mercedes, for this opportunity to take these two out. What else can I tell you? Well, I mean, we know about the drift mode selector, the traction control, the 9-stage, because this car, again, the SLS Black was developed sort of through the customer racing of the SLS GT3 car. This has kind of gone similarly through the AMG GT3, which was the victor, in fact like the dominator at last year's Nurburgring 24 Hour, which is what I'm attending at the moment. And this car has this basically race-derived traction control system, and I did a whole video about that, which not too many people watch, so I recommend checking it out if you're interested, because you can just see how you get different angles of slip depending which setting you have it in, so you can play with it and experiment with what's right for the conditions, what's right for the track you're on, even which corner you want if you're that way inclined. I'm just going to let the traffic open up a little bit ahead, nobody behind me. Build it up uphill. It just sticks beautifully. This car, seriously guys, this car is just... I love what they're doing, and I love the playfulness. You feel a little bit of that in the car. You feel a little bit of how the back is not going anywhere because it's got Sport Cup 2 tyres, just like the Black Series. They're super, super sticky. But with traction on, you can still, it doesn't interrupt you horribly. You can sort of put a little bit of pressure on them and apply, but I've had a lot of fun today. An awful lot of fun. So, yes, you know the basics about my car. I'm sure there are going to be a million other questions. There are probably some things I meant to think about, but it's been so hot today, my brain is kind of all over the shop. But also, let me know if you have any fuel for thought topic ideas, if there's anything you'd like me to discuss about these cars. I mean, I've talked a little bit before about how to fund them, you know, financing, leasing, what they cost, how all of that works. I've talked a little bit about, you know, sort of what jobs you can do to get a supercar, because that's one of the most sort of common questions that people want to know. Talked a little bit about various different topics, so have a look at the Fuel for Thought playlist as well if you're interested in sort of some more in-depth stuff. But just wanted to let you know a little bit more about my car, really. Plug some cameras in, take the AMG GT R out for a drive, because let's face it, who wouldn't want to do that? Anyway, yeah, so some more cool stuff coming up. I think there's a lot of more cool stuff coming up at the moment. As always, I'm very much looking forward to sharing some of it with you, but it looks like the light is going down now, so I should probably think about packing up and leaving this one for today. But as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. Really appreciate your support. It's always absolutely awesome. Bumped into many of you here at the Nurburgring during the 24 hours, so that's been great. And I will leave you on that one. That's it for now, though. So thank you very much, and I will see you very soon. Cheers.